Shame. Shame. Where does it come from? Mm. Hello, my name is Susie Porter. I'm not ashamed to say. And I'm a spiritual life coach. I help women rewrite their lives so that they can create their happily ever after free of shame. I want to talk about shame today, if you haven't caught on. You know, no one is born, no babies come into this world feeling shame. We learn to feel ashamed of ourselves. I've heard that guilt is when we feel bad about what we've done, while shame is feeling bad about who we are. Back in my church going days, they used to say, hate the sin, love the sinner, which was always pretty tricky, right? Like, how can we hate the behavior and not the person? For those of us who might have had childhood experiences that made us feel ashamed of ourselves or our family, or like I lived in the projects, that was kind of a shamey kind of place to live. That shame might have gotten installed in our minds and been locked away as our unconscious identity. On the outside, we might seem confident and happy, beautiful, whatever, but buried shame is a sneaky sabotager that can explode like a landmine when you least expect it. In my love life, I use the term very loosely. In my love life, I had relationships that I knew must have been some kind of karmic debt because they were so dramatic and some of them super unhealthy. Some of them fun and healthy, but some of them real bad. So the thing about hidden shame is that it can masquerade as confidence. Yeah, shame is invisible and people don't wear labels announcing it, right? When I was single, I used to think it would be super helpful if men came with like little warning labels, and the women who dated him before I did could write on his tag, hates his mom, look out, or will hit you when he gets jealous, or will be super sweet in the beginning, then will try to control you. But that didn't happen, and I had to learn the hard way, right? We all did through experience. I'm not trying to blame or shame any of my old boyfriends. Really, I'm not. God bless them all. If anything, I'm trying to shame itself. Shame is the voice that says, you should do this, or you should be that. And you shouldn't be that. What you are, you shouldn't be that. What you did, you shouldn't do that. Shame and should both begin with sh. Whew, the voice of shame can be relentless, and unless we nip it in the bud, it can overtake our sense of who we are. If we don't uncover this voice and replace it with a loving voice, we won't be able to be happy or successful. We'll continue to be people pleasers or codependent, miserable, or just we could feel lost or powerless. The more I think about it, the more I want to out shame. I was raised in the church, and ironically, the same thing that made me feel innocent and loved could also make me feel guilty and bad about myself. Now, to be clear, Jesus never made me feel like shit, but religious people and religious dogma sure wanted to. That's one reason I'm so zealous and passionate about speaking up for the Jesus who wrote A Course in Miracles and who channeled the I Am discourses and who is available in other forms besides fundamental Christianity. The Universal Christ by Richard Rohr. Oof, I have to take a breath because I get triggered when I talk about this. Because Jesus Christ belongs to everybody, not just Christians, right? He was a Jew after all, a Jewish rabbi. Okay, Susie, take a breath, dial it back. I gave years of my life to fundamental Christianity, and now, decades later, I have zero shame, no shame, and no fear about displeasing my authorities. When you go to church, there's this hierarchy, and it's, you just want to be a good Christian. And I don't have that fear anymore of displeasing my elders. I have no elders, no authorities. The only authority I listen to is the divine intelligence that is like literally within me. I do honor and respect a higher power, as they say in AA, and I do humbly um avail myself to the deepest wisdom of the universe. But it's different than the shame way that the churches operated. The God that I believe in isn't a patriarchal shaming creep. He, she, it is not a dictator who delights in my shame. As a matter of fact, in the Course, Jesus even tells me not to worship him. He says that awe isn't even appropriate because we're equals, but he is an older brother who I can respect. Course in Miracles says that our innocence is guaranteed by God. What a fantastic word, right? Guaranteed. And that goes for everyone. It's like the good news and the bad news, isn't it? As wonderful as it is to acknowledge our innocence, we also have to make room for the innocence of everyone else, no matter how much evidence we might gather to the contrary. Shame doesn't advocate for our innocence. Shame is only interested in our guilt and the guilt of everyone else, right? The voice for shame wants us to feel terrible and is a pernicious vibration of negativity, doubt, fear, and pain. Of course, a healthy conscience is a necessary thing in order to be a decent person. But shame is not that. Shame is the debilitating feeling of utter unworthiness. While feeling sorry for something we've done can help us make amends and to better ourselves, shame is just thrilled when we keep feeling bad about ourselves. So shame is counterproductive, right? There's a famous story in the Bible called the prodigal son. There's two sons, and one stays home and he's a goody goody and he does all the right things, and the other one goes out and parties and just like blows all his money. And so he comes home finally after years of being gone. So the prodigal son comes home and his father doesn't shame him. He's like, "Woo, you're home." He wraps his arms around him and he throws a great big party, which really pisses off the goody goody brother. But the point of the story for my video is that instead of saying shaming the boy, he was thrilled and welcomed him home. And I think it's the same with God, source energy, creative universe, whatever you want to call it. If you have a problem with the word God, I get it. But contrary to popular belief, God is not in the shaming business. Religion is, yes, God is not. If God is love itself, just think of love as an energy force, as a power. And if God is love, then shaming us for who we are would make no sense whatsoever. Our innocence is guaranteed by God. If we can open up our minds to believe that, even if we can try just a little bit that might be true, that our innocence is guaranteed by God. If we can shed the shame, we can free ourselves from that negative pull, right? And shame dies in the spotlight. I did a one woman show called Wake Up Little Susy where I acted out my deepest, darkest secrets. And can I tell you, it was miraculously liberating. We're all the same. All minds are joined. And when you accept and acknowledge your own innocence, you're actually lifting the energy of everyone around you. As you clear your own conscience, you can tune your attention to the loving voice within you. Yeah, it might take practice, it might take some time, but the first step is to uncover the voice that's speaking the loudest in your head. Is it the voice of shame or is it the voice of love? Now, here's how you can tell the voice of love feels good. And you can do whatever you need to do with confidence when you listen to the voice of love. The voice of love makes us feel safe, validated, right? Like a really good mom or dad who says, I love you. Like Mr. Rogers who says, I love you just the way you are. Mm-mm-mm. We need more people to be like Mr. Rogers, right? When that sneaky voice for shame is whispering in your ear, it can stop you in your tracks. and make you question your identity and your self worth. Notice how you feel. Notice what you're thinking. It helps a lot. It helps me so much to journal. When I write down your thoughts, I'm feeling like shit today because I'm thinking da 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 da. And then look and see what's real. Well, is this true? Am I really a terrible person? Do the Byron Katie 4 questions. Is it true? How can I know it's true? Who would I be without these thoughts or these beliefs? And then turn it around. No, I'm an innocent child of God. My innocence is guaranteed by God. So I have nothing to be ashamed of. Know that your innocence is guaranteed by God. I challenge you, I invite you to think about shame and innocence, love and fear, the voice for love, the voice for your innocence, and the shame voice. And let the voice for love be the more powerful voice in your head. Become aware of that voice and practice listening to the voice for love. Take good care of your mind, of your thoughts, of your heart, of your feelings, and of your body too. Take care. God bless.